Grief. We're terrible at it. We're afraid of it. We don't want to talk about it. We back away from it, hoping to do no harm. There's no shame or blame here. We've been taught grief should be private, quick, and quiet. We don't know a better way. We all dread that first moment. You're standing in line after the service or going to see someone for the first time, planning what to say, trying to find something that doesn't sound awful. And then you get face to face with the person, and it's all gone. You might burst into tears at the sight of theirs, or blurt out a cliche. You're being so strong, or life goes on. You watch the griever's face fall and their body contract. You know your words didn't land the way you had hoped. I could have said something so much better. In September of 2020, I was the person people had to face. I had received the middle of the night phone call every parent dreads. The police calling to tell me my son Ben had died. The world I knew shattered around me. I became a grieving mother, grieving out loud. I had to come to terms with how little I knew about grief and learn everything I could fast to survive. I instantly learned there is a huge tsunami of every emotion hitting all at the same time. An incomprehensible, overwhelming swirl. And then there's the full body experience. Grief impacts our sleep, our appetite, and our immune system. Grievers can feel physical pain, have digestive issues, and muscle weakness. I was achy, exhausted, nauseous, and clumsy. The brain fog was the most worrisome. I thought I was losing my mind. My thoughts were hazy. I couldn't concentrate, and I was easily confused. Tasks with multiple steps were almost impossible. One day, my daughter and I decided we should be able to feed ourselves, so we would make grilled cheese sandwiches. Easy, right? But when you think about it, it's a lot of steps. It took us 40 minutes. 40 minutes for a simple grilled cheese sandwich. That's because tasks with multiple steps that have to be done in the right order are really hard those first months. I was scared. I thought there was something seriously wrong with me, and I didn't want to tell anyone what was happening. When I learned about grief brain, it all made sense. It's normal to feel like your brain is made of mush after a loss. I was annoyed and relieved to learn it can be 5 years until you feel fully functioning again. I'm still waiting. And speaking of waiting, there's no set timeline for grief. Supporters often believe after that service is over, grief should be winding down. But grief is just getting started. The most intense grief, with overwhelming emotions and uncomfortable symptoms, lasts for months. And for many people like me, the second year, even harder than the first. Eventually, we come to a place where we think of our person with more love than pain. That's how we want to carry them with us forever. When we understand grief better, we can support grievers in a more meaningful way. We understand their confusion and their symptoms are real and normal. We stop expecting them to move on or get over it after a certain period. We can do better. We must do better. Who wants to stay terrible at grief? My drive to understand grief led me to become a certified grief educator. The two questions I'm asked most by people supporting someone who's grieving are, what can I say and what can I do? In the early days after my son's death, many people unintentionally said awful things. He would want you to be happy. Or, if my child died, I'd die too. I know, they meant well, but those words, like most cliches, close the conversation. They tell me that those people aren't a safe place to grieve, and grieving was all I could do. In contrast, a few people said things like, I don't know what to say, and I'm here for you. Or, I can imagine what you're going through, and I'm not going anywhere. Those words opened the conversation. They told me those people were a safe place to be me, grieving. I didn't have to pretend to be okay. One coworker who didn't know Ben asked me to tell her about him. That was an amazing moment. She allowed me to be me as I was and created a safe place to talk about Ben, who I missed so deeply. As time goes on, people stop saying anything. Supporters tell me they don't want to remind the person or make them sad. I can assure you, you're not reminding us. I remember Ben died every moment of every day. Knowing you do too is a gift. And if that conversation brings tears, that's a gift too. When it comes to what to do, we need compassion. Compassion is having empathy for another's feelings and then taking effective action to provide support. It's empathy in action. And the effective part, remember my grieving brain? I needed offers that could be answered yes or no. Offering anything you need, let me know, was useless to me. The grieving brain can't imagine what we might need beyond the current moment. Be specific with your offers. You might get groceries or pick up the kids or do laundry. You might bring a meal they want, not your favorite tuna casserole. A specific offer might sound something like this. I'm going to the grocery store. Go, stand in front of your fridge, tell me what's missing. I'll bring it this afternoon. Or it could be a question. Garbage day's on Tuesday. Can I take your cans out too? Everything you need, the griever needs too. I had a magical grocery genie for almost a year and a half. I couldn't manage the complexities of the grocery store until then. So, what can you say? Something unique, open-hearted, and genuine. Something that shows you want to listen. What can you do? Make specific offers and follow through, all for much longer than you've been taught. Do what you're comfortable with. Be there to listen, offer practical support. You don't have to do it all. When you respond to grief this way, magic happens. You provide support long-term because you know there's no finish line. You say something unique and vulnerable, something that shows you want to listen. You provide the brain power, make specific offers, and follow through. For me, the people who showed up this way helped me feel less alone. They couldn't make my grief go away, but they made the weight of it easier to carry. That's something we can all offer. Grief, it's inevitable. It's part of life. We can't avoid it, and we don't have to stay terrible. Let's create a culture where, because we understand grief better, we say and do better. Thank you.